to probably teach this if that weren't part of it. Goldberg crossed it off when he was teaching it because he didn't feel comfortable, obviously, with it. But I think it's it is an indispensable aspect of modern Jewish thought. I don't know how you could teach a modern Jewish thought and dispense with that. It's like throwing out a basic element, you know, throwing out the baby with the bathwater. That's where we're at. That's the zeitgeist of the moment, like it or not. So, who knows? Let's Theo will continue here, and then we'll talk about the exam later on, okay? So, we're looking at Geiger's material on page 50. Where are we now?
About 64 to 65.
Oh, well, you see now, I have, I'm afraid I skipped some of the material earlier here about Geiger. I really should go back to, this is his Science of Judaism material there, but, oh well, let's finish this and then go back to his introduction to his prayer book material. So, let's see. I'm not going to read a lot of this, so I'll just pick up a few sections. For instance, here, page 66, the science of Judaism is a study of the particular orientation of the spiritual life through which, within one particular sphere, Judaism was founded, developed, broadcast, preserved, in full vigor down our own time. Okay, sounds very impressive. You get the idea. Or, for instance, on page 69. A part of the science of Judaism, a study of history, will of course remain subject to all those laws which history recognizes as science. I didn't know history was a science. In Germany, I guess it is. I know lots of historians, but I wouldn't call them scientists. Anyway, they do their best, they try. Scientific critical study must not be hindered by dogmatic assumptions. Well, we agree on that. Judaism has no cause to fear an unbiased critical examination, and I think we all could agree on that. So, there's nothing wrong with studying Judaism in a critical way. Then he goes on, the history of Judaism can be divided, at bottom of 69, into 4 periods. The first is the Revelation period. And we know what that is, the Mosaic period. The second is the era during which all, this is top of 70, all of this biblical material was process shaped, molded for life. It was then that Judaism took root in the spiritual heritage of the past. All very highfalutin, isn't it? I wish it were all so elegant as this. At the same time, still maintained a certain degree of freedom in approach. This was the period of tradition. So this is all very neat in his mind. As you know, the Talmudic period is the period after the fall of the temple when these oral traditions were put into written form and discussed in what is called the Babylonian Talmud and the Jerusalem Talmud, which is much smaller. The Jerusalem Talmud being the discussions in the Palestinian sphere, and the Babylonian Talmud basically being the discussions in the Babylonian and the memories of the Palestinian sphere. Now, the third period is characterized, and he's judgmental here, by a toilsome preoccupation with the heritage as it then stood. The spiritual heritage was guarded and preserved. No one felt authorized to reconstruct or develop it. I think he's right there. I mean, it did get frozen